things, where life is not defined by the challenges we face, but by the grit we summon to overcome them. In a world where setbacks are certain things, true leadership is revealed not in comfort, but in courage. Today, I invite you to discover how to lead with fierce grit, a path of resilience, faith, and unstoppable determination. Adversity is often viewed as a curse, an unwanted guest that barges into our lives uninvited. Leaving behind a trail of pain, confusion, and discouragement. Yet, if we take a closer look, we can see that adversity is not simply a stumbling block, but a teacher. Guiding us toward lessons we may never have learned in the absence of struggle. When difficulties come our way, they push us beyond our comfort zones, challenging us to discover strengths we never knew we had. Without hardship, there would be no growth. Without resistance, there would be no resilience. The most powerful leaders in history, the ones who have left a mark on generations, were not shaped by easy roads, but by trials that demanded courage, perseverance, and unwavering grit. They refused to allow adversity to break them. Instead, they chose to let it build them. This mindset shift is crucial for anyone who desires to lead with fierce grit, because it turns obstacles into opportunities and pain into platforms for transformation. When a person embraces adversity as a teacher, they stop asking the question, why me? And instead begin to ask, what can I learn from this? That subtle shift changes everything. Suddenly, the problem is no longer just an obstacle, it is an invitation to growth. Adversity can reveal weaknesses that must be addressed. Refine character traits that are underdeveloped, and inspire creative solutions that would otherwise remain hidden. Imagine a seed buried underground, without the pressure of soil, without the struggle to push upward toward the light. It would never grow into a tree. In the same way, adversity becomes the pressure that awakens the potential inside of us, forcing us to rise, stretch, and break through barriers we once thought were impossible. To embrace adversity as a teacher is to welcome the lessons hidden within the struggle, and to believe that every setback carries the seed of an even greater comeback. It is easy to view hardship as the enemy, to fight against it and to resist its presence. But when we do that, we deny ourselves the chance to grow. Resistance to adversity often amplifies the suffering, while acceptance allows us to transform it. True grit is not found in denying the pain of life, but in facing it, learning from it, and allowing it to shape us into stronger, wiser, and more compassionate human beings. Every disappointment can teach us patience. Every loss can teach us gratitude. Every rejection can teach us resilience. When we shift our perspective and lean into the lessons, adversity becomes a mentor. One that pushes us to develop emotional strength, mental toughness, and spiritual depth. Great leaders are forged in fire, not in ease. And those who learn to see adversity as a guiding force discover that the very struggles they once despised have prepared them for a destiny far greater than they imagined. For example, consider the moments when we face failure. At first glance, failure seems final, humiliating, and crushing. But in reality, failure is one of the most powerful teachers. It teaches humility, reminding us that we are not infallible. It teaches perseverance, showing us that success often requires repeated attempts. It teaches innovation, forcing us to find new ways forward when the old methods no longer work. History is filled with stories of men and women who faced countless failures before achieving greatness. They did not view their failures as proof of weakness, but as lessons in disguise. Each one sharpening their character and equipping them with the wisdom they needed to achieve their goals. If they had viewed adversity only as an enemy, they would have quit long before their breakthroughs. Instead, they embraced adversity as a teacher. And in doing so, they discovered the resilience that would inspire generations. Adversity also teaches us empathy, a trait essential for leadership. When you walk through hardship, you gain a deeper understanding of others who struggle. Things. You begin to see pain not as something distant, but as something real and human. This empathy allows you to connect with people on a deeper level. Things. To inspire them not just with words, but with authenticity. Things. Leaders who have been through the fire of adversity carry with them a compassion that cannot be faked. Things. They understand what it feels like to be broken, to doubt, to wrestle with despair, and because of that, things. They can offer encouragement and hope that rings true. When you embrace adversity as a teacher, things. You not only grow personally, but you also become equipped to lead others through their own struggles. Things. Guiding them with wisdom born from experience. Furthermore, things. Adversity forces us to confront our limitations and break free from the illusion of control. We live in a world that prizes comfort, security, things, and predictability, but the truth is that life is unpredictable. Adversity reminds us that we cannot control everything, and this realization, things, while uncomfortable, can actually liberate us. It teaches us to let go of the things we cannot change and to focus our energy on what we can. Things. This shift builds resilience because it roots us in adaptability, the ability to bend without breaking, to adjust without giving up. When storms come, a rigid tree may snap, but a flexible one sways and survives. In the same way, things. Those who embrace adversity as a teacher learn to adapt, to remain flexible, things, and to find strength in surrendering to the process rather than resisting it. Another powerful lesson adversity teaches is gratitude. Things. It may seem strange to be thankful in the midst of hardship, but when we look back, things, we often realize that our most difficult seasons were the ones that shaped us the most. Things. Gratitude allows us to shift our focus from what we have lost to what we have gained, from the pain of the present to the growth of the journey. Things. When we practice gratitude in the face of adversity, we develop an unshakable resilience, one that cannot be destroyed by circumstances. Things. Gratitude transforms suffering into wisdom, loss into perspective, and challenges into opportunities. Things. Leaders who carry gratitude within them radiate a sense of hope and strength that inspires everyone around them. Adversity also reveals our true values and priorities. Things. When everything is stripped away, when life becomes difficult, we are forced to ask ourselves what really matters. Things. The trials we face clarify our vision, sharpen our purpose, and remind us of the deeper meaning behind our efforts. Without adversity, it is easy to drift through life, distracted by superficial pursuits and temporary comforts. But when adversity strikes, it jolts us awake. Things. Reminding us of the brevity of life and the importance of investing in what truly counts. Things. Those who embrace adversity as a teacher discover not only who they are, but also what they are called to do. Things. And this clarity propels them forward with determination and grit. Finally, adversity teaches us faith. Faith in ourselves, faith in the journey. Things. And for many, faith in something greater than themselves. It is in the moments when we feel weakest that we discover a strength beyond our own. Things. Faith allows us to endure what seems unbearable, to hope when everything appears hopeless, and to continue walking when the road feels endless. Things. This faith is not blind optimism, but a deep trust that every struggle has meaning and every hardship has purpose. Things. Leaders who cultivate this kind of faith become unshakable. Things. Able to inspire courage in others because they themselves have walked through the fire and emerged stronger, but choosing to embrace adversity as a teacher rather than an enemy. Things. We unlock a source of wisdom, resilience, and strength that cannot be gained any other way. Things. It is not the absence of hardship that defines us, but the way we respond to it, the way we allow it to mold us. Things. And the way we choose to grow through it rather than shrink from it. Adversity, when embraced, things, becomes the very force that equips us to lead with fierce grit. Things. transforming not only our lives, but the lives of those we are called to impact. Building resilience through unwavering faith and focus is one of the most powerful choices a person can make when navigating the difficulties of life. Resilience is not simply the ability to bounce back from hardship. It is the strength to keep moving forward with determination, even when the weight of the world seems too heavy to bear. Faith and focus act as the twin pillars that hold up resilience, giving us the ability to rise above pain, uncertainty, and failure. Faith provides the inner conviction that there is a greater plan at work, that even in the darkest of times, light exists and meaning can be found. Focus, on the other hand, allows us to channel our energy toward what truly matters. Refusing to be distracted by the noise of fear or the whispers of doubt. When these two forces are combined, they create an unshakable resilience that no setback can destroy. Faith is often misunderstood as passive, as if it means sitting back and waiting for life to improve. In truth, faith is an active force. It is the choice to believe in the unseen, to trust in possibilities even when they seem distant, and to hold on when everything around us tells us to let go. Faith is what allows a person to endure sleepless nights, unanswered questions, and painful losses without surrendering to despair. It is not the denial of reality, but the insistence that reality is not the end of the story. Faith whispers that the struggle has a purpose. That the suffering is shaping something greater, and that the pain of today can become the strength of tomorrow. When leaders build resilience on faith, they walk with a confidence that inspires others. Not because everything is perfect, but because they trust that the journey itself holds value. Focus is equally vital in times of difficulty. That the human mind has a tendency to scatter, to fixate on fears, to obsess over what went wrong. And to spiral into thoughts that paralyze rather than propel. Focus cuts through the chaos and brings clarity. It is the deliberate act of concentrating on what can be done rather than what cannot, of directing energy toward progress rather than problems. Focus creates discipline, and discipline builds resilience. A leader who remains focused in adversity sends a message to those around them. No matter how strong the storm, the direction is clear and the mission is unwavering. This kind of focus is not about ignoring challenges, about refusing to let challenges dictate the course of action. It keeps the eyes fixed on the destination, even when the path is filled with obstacles. The combination of faith and focus strengthens resilience, because faith provides the why and focus provides the how. Faith answers the heart's need for hope, assuring us that endurance is worthwhile, while focus gives the mind a strategy, guiding our steps in practical ways. Without faith, focus can become cold and mechanical, lacking the deeper purpose that fuels perseverance. Without focus, faith can drift into wishful thinking, full of hope but lacking the discipline to act. But when faith and focus come together, resilience becomes more than survival. It becomes a force for transformation. It allows individuals not just to endure difficulties, but to grow through them, emerging stronger, wiser, and more capable of leading others. Consider how athletes train for grueling competitions. They push their bodies beyond comfort, enduring pain and fatigue, but they rely on focus to keep them aligned with their goals, and faith to remind them that the sacrifice is worth it. Without faith in the vision of victory, the pain would be intolerable. Without focus, the effort would be wasted in distractions. The same principle applies to life. When we face adversity, we must train our minds and hearts in resilience. Anchoring ourselves in faith that gives meaning, and focus that gives direction. This training equips us to withstand difficulties with courage and to rise stronger on the other side. One of the greatest threats to resilience is doubt. Doubt creeps in when progress feels slow, when answers remain hidden, and when the weight of struggle grows heavy. things. Doubt whispers that faith is foolish, that focus is futile, that resilience is pointless. Things. Yet this is precisely where unwavering faith and focus matter most. Faith silences doubt by reminding us of promises yet to be fulfilled. Things, of victories yet to come, of the unseen strength within us. Focus confronts doubt by turning our energy to what can be done in the present moment. Things, refusing to waste time in endless speculation. Together, they shield resilience from being crushed under the weight of despair. Things, they act as a compass that keeps us moving in the right direction. Things, even when the path is unclear, resilience built on faith and focus also creates stability not only for ourselves but for those around us. Things, a leader who crumbles in adversity spreads fear and insecurity. Things, but a leader who stands firm with faith and focus becomes a pillar of strength for others. People are drawn to those who radiate calm in chaos. Things, who remain steady when everything else feels shaky. Things, this steadiness is not born from perfection, but from the discipline of anchoring oneself in unshakable faith and unrelenting focus. Things, such leaders inspire teams, families, and communities to keep pressing forward, reminding them that even in darkness, things, hope and direction can be found. Their resilience becomes contagious. Things, igniting resilience in others and creating a collective strength that is far greater than any single individual. Another crucial aspect of resilience is the ability to rise after falling. Things, life inevitably brings failure, rejection, and disappointment. Many people allow these moments to define them. Things, convincing themselves that they are broken beyond repair, but resilience says otherwise. Faith says this is not the end, and focus says things. This is what we do next. When a person stumbles, faith lifts their eyes to the possibility of a brighter future. Things, while focus grounds their feet on the next actionable step. Together, they make rising inevitable. Things, the person who holds on to faith and focus cannot stay down for long because resilience is woven into their very being. Things, they learn to see setbacks as stepping stones, each one preparing them for the path ahead. With every fall and every rise, resilience deepens. Things, making them unshakable in the face of future storms. Resilience through faith and focus also cultivates patience, which is essential for growth. Things, in a culture that demands instant results, it is easy to become discouraged when progress is slow. But faith teaches us to trust the process. Things, to believe that growth takes time and that unseen changes are happening even when results are not yet visible. Things, focus teaches us to remain disciplined in our efforts, to keep taking small steps forward even when the finish line seems far away. Things, patience but on faith and focus prevents us from giving up prematurely. Things, allowing resilience to carry us through seasons of waiting until the harvest of our efforts finally arrives. Perhaps one of the most profound lessons of building resilience through faith and focus is the discovery of inner strength. Things, many people underestimate what they are capable of until adversity forces them to find out. Things, faith tells us that we are stronger than we think because we are not walking alone. Things, and focus proves it by guiding us through each challenge step by step. As we endure trials with faith and focus, things, we uncover a reservoir of resilience that we may never have tapped into otherwise. Things, this discovery not only strengthens our confidence but also empowers us to encourage others. Things, showing them that they too have the strength to rise when life knocks them down. Ultimately, things, resilience is not about avoiding hardship but about facing it with courage and determination. Things, faith and focus transform adversity into a training ground for strength, turning pain into wisdom and obstacles into opportunities. Things, they allow us to stand tall when life tries to push us down, to keep moving when the path seems impossible. Things, and to lead with conviction when others are tempted to surrender. Things, resilience built on unwavering faith and focus is not easily shaken because it is rooted in both purpose and discipline, in both hope and action. things, in both the belief in what is possible and the clarity to pursue it with all our strength, turning pain into purpose. Driven leadership is one of the most powerful transformations any individual can experience because pain is a universal language. Things. Every person, regardless of their background or achievements, has walked through moments of hurt, disappointment, or loss. Things. While pain often feels like a weight that drags us down, things. It can also become the very fuel that propels us forward if we learn to harness it correctly. Things. The difference between those who are broken by pain and those who rise from it lies in perspective and choice. Things. Pain can either imprison us in bitterness and despair, or it can shape us into leaders who live with deep conviction, clarity, and compassion. Things. Leadership that springs from purpose is far more impactful than leadership that is motivated by ego, ambition, things, or recognition because it resonates with authenticity and carries a message that speaks to the hearts of others. Pain, when transformed, things becomes the foundation for leadership that inspires, uplifts things, and drives change in the lives of those we touch. Pain has a way of awakening us to truths we might otherwise ignore. In moments of comfort, things. It is easy to drift through life chasing surface level goals and temporary pleasures. But when pain enters, it strips away illusions, things, forcing us to confront reality and to search for meaning. This search for meaning is where purpose is often born. Things. When someone asks themselves why they had to endure suffering, things, the answer is rarely found in the pain itself, but in what the pain produces within them. It may lead them to discover a cause worth fighting for, a mission worth dedicating their lives to, or a vision that transcends personal gain. Things. Great leaders throughout history have often carried deep scars, things, but those scars became the evidence of their strength and the source of their wisdom. Things. Their pain gave them empathy for the hurting and courage to fight for justice, freedom, or hope. In the same way, things. Anyone who chooses to turn pain into purpose unlocks a level of leadership that cannot be imitated because it is born from the depths of lived experience. One of the most profound aspects of pain is that it connects us to others. Things. While success can sometimes create distance, pain creates solidarity. When a leader is willing to share their struggles openly, things. They bridge the gap between themselves and those they lead. People are not inspired by perfection, but by authenticity. Things. They resonate with someone who has endured hardships and still chosen to rise. Things. This authenticity builds trust because it shows vulnerability without weakness. It says, I have walked through the fire, things, and I know what it feels like to hurt, but I also know what it feels like to overcome. Such a leader does not simply give instructions, things. They give hope. They do not just point the way. They walk alongside others because they understand the journey. Pain, when turned into purpose, things, becomes the foundation for relational leadership that uplifts and empowers others rather than seeking to dominate or control them. Turning pain into purpose also shifts the way we view challenges. Things. Instead of seeing hardship as a setback, we begin to see it as a stepping stone. Every difficulty becomes an opportunity to learn to grow, things, and to shape the vision of the future. This perspective breeds resilience, a quality essential for leadership. Things. Leaders who have suffered understand that storms are temporary, that setbacks are not the end, and that perseverance is worth it. Things. They lead with calmness in chaos, knowing from experience that even in the darkest nights, dawn eventually breaks. Things. This calmness gives others strength because it reassures them that the struggle they face is not in vain. Things. A purpose-driven leader carries this strength into every decision. Things. Reminding those around them that pain is not wasted when it is transformed into a higher calling. The transformation of pain into purpose also fuels passion. Things. Pain ignites a fire within that cannot be extinguished by mere comfort or ease. It creates a sense of urgency. Things. A determination to ensure that the suffering endured is not meaningless. For instance, Things. Someone who has battled illness may dedicate their life to advancing healthcare. Things. Someone who has experienced loss may work to support others going through grief. Things. Someone who has felt rejection may become a voice for the marginalized. In each case, the pain becomes a catalyst. Things. Transforming into a purpose that gives their leadership depth and authenticity. This passion is contagious because it is rooted in sincerity. Things, not self-interest. People are drawn to leaders who are motivated by something greater than themselves. Things. And when pain becomes the driving force behind purpose, things, it produces leadership that is unstoppable. An important element of purpose-driven leadership born from pain is empathy. Things. Pain softens the heart and sharpens the ability to understand others. A leader who has known struggle will naturally listen with more compassion. Things. Care with more sincerity and encourage with more conviction. They are not quick to judge because they know the weight of unseen battles. Things. Empathy allows them to see people not as resources to be used, but as individuals with stories, dreams, and struggles. Things. This perspective builds stronger teams, deeper communities, things, and lasting legacies because it transforms leadership from being transactional to transformational. Empathy is what allows a leader to inspire loyalty and trust. Things. And it is pain that often unlocks the depth of empathy needed for such leadership. Pain also teaches humility. Things, a trait often missing in positions of power. Leaders who have suffered understand their own limitations. Things, they recognize that strength is not about being invincible, but about being willing to rise after falling. Things, this humility allows them to lead without arrogance, to acknowledge the contributions of others, and to admit mistakes when they occur. Things. Humility makes a leader approachable, relatable, and human. It prevents leadership from becoming about ego and redirects it towards service. Things. Pain strips away the illusion of control and reminds us that leadership is not about being above others, but about walking with them. This humility, things, forged in the furnace of suffering, produces a style of leadership that is authentic, grounded, things, and deeply impactful. In addition to empathy and humility, pain cultivates wisdom. Pain forces reflection, and reflection leads to understanding. Things. Those who rush through life without ever pausing to reflect may achieve temporary success, but they lack the depth that true leadership requires. Things. Pain slows us down, compels us to ask deeper questions, and helps us to see life from perspectives we may have ignored. Things. The wisdom gained through suffering cannot be taught in classrooms or learned from books. It is lived, felt, and earned through experience. Things. Leaders who carry this kind of wisdom guide others not only with knowledge but with discernment. Things. They can navigate complex situations with clarity because they have seen both the highs and the lows of life. Things. Their decisions carry weight because they are not based solely on logic but also on lived reality. Turning pain into purpose-driven leadership also creates resilience in others. Things. When people see a leader who has endured suffering and transformed it into purpose, they realize that their own pain can be redeemed. Things. It gives them permission to reframe their struggles and to believe that their hardships can serve a greater good. Things. Such leadership multiplies resilience, spreading strength throughout entire communities or organizations. Things. It creates a culture where setbacks are not feared but embraced as part of the journey toward growth. In this way, things, a leader's transformation of pain into purpose does not remain personal, it becomes communal. Things, impacting countless lives and inspiring generations to follow. At the heart of purpose-driven leadership is the belief that pain is never wasted. Tear. Every scar, every disappointment can be used as a stepping stone toward a greater mission. Things. The choice lies in whether we allow pain to define us or to refine us. Things. Leaders who choose refinement discover that their greatest wounds can become their greatest sources of influence. Things. They stop hiding their scars and begin using them as testimonies of strength and perseverance. This transparency empowers others to do the same. Things. creating a ripple effect of courage and authenticity. Purpose-driven leadership does not deny the reality of pain. It acknowledges it, embraces it, things, and transforms it into a force for good. When pain is turned into purpose, leadership ceases to be about personal gain and becomes about service. Things. It is no longer about climbing ladders of success, but about lifting others up from the valleys of despair. Things. It is about creating meaning from suffering and using that meaning to guide, inspire, and heal. Things. This kind of leadership leaves a legacy that outlasts titles, achievements, things, or accolades because it touches the hearts of people and reminds them of their own capacity to rise. Pain, once seen as an obstacle, things, becomes the very foundation of a leader's influence, shaping them into someone who not only leads with vision, but also with courage, compassion, things. And unwavering determination, cultivating consistency over comfort, is one of the defining qualities of fierce grit, because comfort, while tempting, things, rarely leads to growth. Human nature craves ease, security, and predictability, but leadership and greatness demand something more. Things. True progress is born from the daily discipline of showing up, of committing to the process, even when it feels inconvenient, uncomfortable, things, or exhausting. Consistency is what separates those who dream from those who achieve, those who talk about change from those who create it. Things. Comfort whispers, take it easy, you've done enough, but consistency insists, stay the course. Things. Because every small step matters. The battle between comfort and consistency is one that every individual faces. Things. And those who choose consistency over comfort develop a resilience that positions them to lead with unshakable determination. The pursuit of comfort often masquerades as wisdom. Things. It tells us to avoid risks, to seek shortcuts, to protect ourselves from difficulty. But comfort, when prioritized, things, becomes a prison that keeps us from reaching our true potential. Consistency, on the other hand, requires sacrifice. Things. It asks us to push through fatigue, to endure repetition, to embrace routines that feel mundane. Yet it is in those daily decisions, things, those often unnoticed acts of discipline, that greatness is formed. Things. A leader who cultivates consistency over comfort learns to rely not on fleeting motivation, but on deeply ingrained habits. Things. They show up not because it feels good, but because it is necessary. This reliability builds trust both within themselves and with those they lead. Thing. Because people know they can count on them to stand firm regardless of circumstances. Consistency is powerful because it compounds over time. Things, small actions, repeated daily, create massive transformation, just as drops of water eventually carve valleys into stone. Things. Consistent effort shapes character, skills, and outcomes in ways that comfort never could. Comfort might offer temporary satisfaction, things, but it produces stagnation. Consistency produces growth because it builds momentum. Each act of perseverance adds to the foundation of strength. Things. Preparing a leader to face greater challenges with confidence, even when results are not immediately visible. Things. Consistency ensures that progress is happening beneath the surface, like a seed growing roots underground before breaking through the soil. Things. Consistent discipline creates unseen growth that will eventually bear visible fruit. Another truth about consistency is that it requires vision. Things. People will not willingly endure discomfort unless they believe in the value of what lies ahead. Things. Vision provides the why that fuels consistency when comfort seems more appealing. Things. A leader who knows their purpose can push through temporary pain because they understand that the reward is greater than the sacrifice. Things. This clarity prevents them from being swayed by distractions or discouraged by setbacks. Things. They are able to endure discomfort because they see it as part of the process, not as a reason to stop. Things. Consistency anchored in vision creates unstoppable momentum. Thing. Because the leader is not chasing ease, but pursuing impact. Comfort also has a deceptive way of presenting itself as rest. Things. But there is a difference between rest and comfort. Rest is intentional and restorative. Comfort is avoidance and stagnation. Things. A leader who cultivates consistency knows the value of rest because it replenishes their strength, but they refuse to confuse it with indulgence. They recognize when the desire for comfort is simply an excuse to avoid the hard work required. This awareness allows them to stay disciplined. To rest when needed, but to keep pressing forward when tempted to quit. By rejecting the lure of comfort, they strengthen their ability to persevere. And every time they choose consistency, they reinforce the grit that makes them unshakable. One of the greatest benefits of consistency is credibility. Leaders are not defined by what they do once in a while, but by what they do repeatedly. Words inspire, but actions sustained over time build trust. People follow leaders who are consistent because they know what to expect. A leader who shows up only when convenient may inspire for a moment, but a leader who consistently models discipline, integrity, and commitment inspires for a lifetime. Their consistency speaks louder than their comfort ever could, and it creates a legacy that outlasts circumstances. This is why cultivating consistency over comfort is essential not just for personal growth, but for leadership influence. It sets the standard and gives others permission to follow with courage and determination. Consistency also strengthens resilience because it builds familiarity with discomfort. The more often we choose consistency, the more accustomed we become to pushing through difficulty. What once felt unbearable becomes manageable because the habit of perseverance reshapes our mindset. We stop seeing discomfort as a threat and start viewing it as a normal part of the journey. This shift allows us to face greater challenges with calmness because our resilience has been strengthened through practice. Comfort may shield us temporarily from pain, but it leaves us unprepared for life's inevitable hardships. Consistency, however, equips us to endure adversity with grit. Because we have trained ourselves to keep moving forward even when it is hard. Focus plays a vital role in maintaining consistency.